Hey guys, welcome back to some more AFK Arena. Today we're over on the YouTube account, and if you caught the stream a little bit earlier, there has been a lot of comments and a lot of things that are around the hero swap. So I believe this is something they're going to be doing with the 4th year anniversary. The patch notes are over on the Chinese client. Patch 1.112 offers a new event. It is called the Replacement of Heroes, is mentioned in the patch notes. Now, this information might not be 100% accurate, so I'm hoping that we can nail a lot of it and get a lot of it out there. Overall, it seems the new Swap Hero event will launch April 1st, which it won't be probably on the global servers here. It is going to launch over on the Chinese servers April 1st, which we know is coming up in just a few days. Adventurers who have passed level 1940 will have a chance to swap a hero for free, and the swap range includes all heroes released in 2022 and earlier. So that is right, guys, 2022 and earlier, which I believe, looking at our Awakened Heroes, if I remember kind of on par, I believe that is not going to include the Awakened version of Belinda, and we know it is not going to include the Awakened version of Matria. Both of those heroes are not going to be eligible for the swap because of the release date. I'm almost positive that Belinda still falls within there. Now, in addition, we know that includes any hero that is in the heroic ship because of the 60-day swap scroll. Even normally, and we're going to look at the original swap scroll in just a little bit, but again, all heroes released in 2022 and earlier, which is going back essentially the last 4 years of AFK Arena, a little less than 4 years. So some of the caveats: engraving does not affect the replacement. That is right, guys. That is the first point that they make here, that engraving is not going to affect the replacement, which means having a E60 Eins with a 60 engraving, this is not going to make a difference. Now, we know with the original swap scroll, engraving could not be on there. If you had a hero that was actually had engraving, as you can see in here, all of the heroes that I do have currently engraving at least 1 point in engraving, they are not eligible for the swap. They are literally forgotten and left off of this because you cannot swap a hero with the original swap scroll, which has engraving, guys. Now, the new one, and I don't know if it's going to be 1, if it is going to be a scroll, or 2, if it is going to be a set timer. Now, again, we don't know with the replacement of heroes, but again, we're going to have to see as more details come out exactly what this is going to mean. So engraving does not affect the replacement of the hero. So again, just like we see here with the Awakened version of AEzizh, I'm going to have the ability to swap him essentially to another hero. Now, copies over 5 stars are not exchanged. So what that means, copies over 5 stars, for instance, I have a fully built out 5-star copy of Flora. I have right down here 2 more copies of Flora as well. And it says specifically copies over 5 stars will not be exchanged, meaning if I did take Flora and I swapped Flora over to another hero, these 2 copies would stay as Flora as we have them today, which means I would still have 2 more copies. And I believe the logic behind this is because of the ability to exchange and then exchange those copies based on the 5-star hero. That's the only logical reason why I could think that they're not going to be exchanged, because I could have stacked a ton of copies of Flora, swapped Flora to another hero to a 5-star, essentially, I guess, and then have the ability to swap within the rickety cart or a lot of other heroes with this replacement hero. I think that is really the logic, because I could actually go in here and swap a bunch of these for a bunch of other heroes. When you look at the Awakened Heroes, that could really cause a problem in there, because that is right, guys. Substitution occurs as follows. Celestials and Hypogean heroes will swap for Celestials and Hypogean heroes, which means these 2 factions are going to be interchangeable for the heroes, guys. Awesome. That is absolutely awesome, because when you look at some heroes like Zekus, when you look at Leofric, when you look at probably even Mizoth, some of these heroes that might have been built or had a lot of utility once upon a time that are seeing 0 utility, that you took the time and effort to go ahead to build them out. You went ahead and engraved them. You got them up to 100 engraving because you love them. you can swap them for a more current version that actually has a little bit of utility in here, which is the same here, guys. I know a lot of players were even talking about swapping out Wukong because they haven't built up. Same with Flora. I mean, I have a 309 Flora. I did the engraving reset on her a while ago, but essentially Wukong and Flora are heroes that don't have a lot of utility. But for instance, I don't have Tarnos. If I swapped a fully built 309 Flora for a Tarnos, that could really make a big difference when it comes to the teams that I have within the Treasure Scramble and also trying to make progression within the Celestial Tower. That again could make a really big difference. And that is also going to make a big difference again if it is going to be a timed event that, let's say, is 7 days, 10 days, whatever it may be, or if it is going to be a scroll that they're just going to let you future use, but only the heroes from 2022, which again makes me think it is going to be a timed event. Now, in addition, guys, the swap for Awakened Heroes. Now, again, this is the really the over arc that I wanted to talk about, because when it comes to the Awakened Heroes, even in the stream earlier today or yesterday, a lot of players were saying, I am swapping the Awakened version of Taylene. It's the first one that I built. I don't use her as much. I'm not going to use her. I'm going to go ahead and swap her. Pause for a minute, guys. Within the Celestial Sanctum, the Awakened version of Taylene is one of the absolute driving forces when you start in one team. Even when you get to two teams, Taylene is the driving force, guys. If you're swapping Taylene for, let's say, a legendary copy of another hero that you really want, the chances are you're not going to be making as much progression in the Celestial Tower because you're missing one of the best heroes within the faction itself. So be very careful when it comes to the Awakened Heroes and swapping the Awakened Heroes. And I do like the fact, I know a lot of players might not agree, that the heroes like Belinda or Matria that you cannot swap to just because the heroes are relatively new. I know they are a little bit more sought after, but between the original 6 that we had last year, you're going to be able to swap Awaken to Awaken. So that means for me, my Awakened version of AEzizh that I absolutely love how he looks, hate how he builds, do not use him for anything. I'm going to have the ability to take this Awakened version of AEzizh and actually swap him over here for my Awakened version of ABaden, which is going to be literally for my account game changing because of the utility that ABaden does have. So I'm not going to have to borrow him anymore. I will have a 30960 Awakened version of ABaden. And in turn, with the swap, I will have one legendary copy of AEzizh, which I am totally okay with. But essentially, that will give me a trifecta of best in slot heroes that I love. I'm just going to have to build them out a little bit more, because if you caught, again, the stream, Matria was super lucky. I built out a lot more of her gear, got signature item up a little bit higher, but we are going to build her out just like we have all of the other ones. Now, the other swap is normal hero to normal hero, which I do not recommend by any means, guys. Do not use it. The swap the 1-for-1. So if you're looking, and I know some players were saying, well, I want to build out Scarlet. The primary 4 factions through the desired hero summons is incredibly easy to do, guys. Not only can you summon them specifically out of here with the desired hero summons, but you also have the ability to utilize them within the wish list. You also have the ability to get them within the Misty Valley. There are so many options, even faction scrolls, common scrolls, things of that nature. There are so many ways to get the regular 4 faction heroes. Do not use the exchange for the regular heroes, guys. Again, there really isn't any that I would recommend doing by any means. The Awakened heroes are probably going to be the biggest thing, but again, make sure you take a hard look at your faction towers, where you're at within these faction towers, and seeing exactly what is going to come up, or how this is going to happen. Now, 2 heroes exchange levels, ascensions, furniture, named items, engraving, and tier 3, tier 4 equipment. That is right, guys. So again, looking at my Awakened version of AEzizh, I have all tier 4 gear on him. Now looking at ABaden, I think he might be built the same tier 4. So these tier 3s will actually go to tier 4s because we are exchanging level, ascension level, furniture, named items, engraving, and tier 3 or tier 4 equipment. Again, it's going to be a total swap for me to have that awakened version of Baden completely built out. Honestly, guys, this is probably one of the absolute biggest things that AFK Arena has ever done in the 4 years that I've been playing this game. This is literally probably one of the biggest, most requested, most popular exchanges that we have ever seen. And again, this is already up in the patch notes on the Chinese server, patch 1.112. The new event is called the Replacement of Heroes. Might be some translation over here, but again, this is we got to get the details of it, guys. Some of this might not be accurate. They might adjust it over on the other end of the patch. We're going to have to see exactly what becomes of it. And again, this is coming from AFK Arena over on the Chinese client. Let me know in the comments what you guys think. And as always, thank you guys for watching.